And welcome everyone to the OVRC. Welcome to Season 4 of the GT series. Will be your host, Alex Fake, and we're going to also have Irvin van der Boer as normal joining us for this broadcast.
Hello, I am here once again.
He's here once again. And we are at Spa for round 1 of the GT series, and which is not
Never used for GT3 racing.
never used.
Never
Ever used at all for this sort of racing. If you've been following anything to do with the OVRC, you will know that. But if you haven't, we are this time in this GT series. There's no longer just one class of vehicle racing. Last time we had GT3 only. This time we have got the addition of the GT1 class, which will be interesting. We have done some test racing in the past couple of weeks, or perhaps months at this point. But we are running those now for the full season. The next major addition to this season will be the addition of the rolling start, which will be explained a bit later when we join the driver's briefing, and you will also see it on screen, obviously, when that goes underway. So that's also another new thing. And the last thing is we're going back to an 8-round calendar after Season 3 was only a 6-round calendar. So it should be a lot longer season, and a lot more twists and turns, hopefully, throughout the season.
Right, we've also got a lot of sign-ups for this season so far, a lot of new drivers, so it'll be interesting to see how they perform. So far, I think all of our series have been won by Thomas Jensen, so maybe a little bit more competition for him this time around. He is in the GT1 class.
So he is can quickly. So Thomas Jensen is racing in, I believe, the Saline still. I remember he was on the practice server and he was a bit unsure about it. He was changing cars all the time, saying which one he was liking, but I believe he's still in that car. So he's racing in GT1. Tom Dentis is most common rival as such in the GT series is also in GT1. He's in the Ford GT. Now, these two cars are very similar. I've driven them both, and they're very similar cars. The Ford is out of the two, I feel, is the easier one to drive, but that sort of thing is preference. Other well-known names we do have, we got Charlie Darling, who's making his return. He's again in GT1. Sebastian Brunier is also in GT1. Jordan Wolby has made the move up to GT1 as well, and we got and that's sort of all the common names we've had from the last couple of seasons in GT1. We've got some people staying in their GT3 car machinery, which they were using last season, such as we have got. Let's have a look down this list. Steve Higgins is in the Mercedes. I don't think he's racing us today, but he's in the Mercedes. Timothy Haynes is also in the Mercedes. Who else is there? Kovalainen is also in the GT3 class in the Audi, where originally he was going to be driving in GT1, I think, if I remember correctly. He's now moved back down to GT3 after not feeling confident enough in the cars, and also Mark Whitford's also in GT3, back in his Porsche from Season 2. That's just a quick rundown of some of the drivers. We actually, as Owen said, it's a very full list of drivers.
Definitely, I don't think we've had this many drivers sign up before.
One thing I forgot to mention before, which I'll mention now, is the introduction of the Team Championship, which will be taking place through this season. It will basically add a new element to the overall standings, where a person can, with a friend or whoever they want really, can set up a team up of 2 drivers that have to be in the same car and have close enough liveries that we can obviously tell which team you're in, and their combined points together will go to an overall team standing, and whoever gets the most points at the end will win. It's another dynamic, it's another area of the season which will affect the overall, I think, or not the overall. But you words. Is there anything else we should mention as we are slowly closing towards the time when the cars start heading out on track? Well, As I say that, it is now time for the cars to slowly start heading out on track, as it is gone past the hour, and the practice session will begin shortly.
Right, the password for the server have just been distributed to all the participants, so we should get some track action very shortly.
Hopefully so, as I'm very excited still. I mean, I've been saying this behind the scenes a bit, but I'm really excited for this season because it's been a while since we had this many signups. Well, I mean, by a while, it's been since season 2, and I sound odd saying that because we only run 4 seasons of GT cars this in this league's history, and it still feels like it was ages ago since we have run season 2 and season 1 all the way back in January. But this is the biggest turnout we've had in terms of signups since that, and we have our first car on the server.
And it is Thomas Jensen. Who else would it be?
What would it be? He is in, and as you said earlier, he is in the Saline, as you can see it right there. And very shortly after him, John Dalton is also on the server. He'll be. Oh, we got. Oh, there are 5 of cars coming on. They shall be slowly appearing. They are appearing in our overlays, so they should hopefully be there very shortly. There we go. You can start sitting and filling up the pit lane. We've got some of the new drivers already on here. So we've got obviously the well-known drivers already here, and we've got some new drivers which will be joining us for the season.
Right, the live timing channel is also available again if you want to keep a close eye on what's happening on track in terms of sector times and all that. And there you can now also see everyone who's in the server at this time.
Got some cars revving their engines still, as we are as Atten Kovalainen is now in the session. Still much going on though. We're having a bit of waiting.
Yeah. Oh, there's someone going out. Mark Whitford.
Mark Whitford is the first car heading out on track.
Starting off with a practice start, I guess.
Practice start. I don't see the reason. It's a rolling start, but there we go. And off he goes down towards El Rouge and the Radion.
And there he goes onto the Camel Straight.
Into the comms. A slight minor issue with the camera, but that should be fixed once they finish their outlaps.
Oh, you also having a camera issue?
Yep, but then we're on board with Mark Whitford right now as he starts heading down towards Pouon. Does lose a bit of traction there, but not like anything particularly matters at this stage. Only practice. We've now got 11 cars on the server. The majority of them being the GT3 cars.
My camera seems to be behaving normally again, so hopefully it'll work again for you as well. As he heads into the bus stop chicane and back into the pits.
Yep, immediately in the pits, done a quick outlap, and then immediately back in towards the pit lane. watch of Thomas Jensen and John Dalton, both current 2 GT1 cars on the server, as they are heading down to La Source now to start their first timed laps. You can see the cars are very similar, but yet quite far apart in terms of how they look. GT is always a bit wider and it's got a bit more wing on it because they are built to slightly different specs. The Saline was built all the way down back in the early 2000s under a somewhat different GT1 regulations at the time, while the Ford GT was built a lot later under the changed 2009 regulations. But both did race together in real life, so they're allowed to race here. They have Mark Whitford, who appears to have just driven through the pits and out the other end. So don't really know what was going on with that, but
practicing pit entry, I guess.
I assume so. Now, one thing, speaking of the differences in the cars right now, one thing that the GT1s will have to bear in mind is with the current fuel settings that the OVRC uses for the GT series, they will have to either do a 2-stop on fuel or do fuel saving. As
Tom Jensen just ran very wide into the barrier and spun. So I think that was the exit of Biff Path, I believe it's called.
Yes, I believe.
Not on the track map, but that's how people often call it.
Yeah, all the way down there. And he is now back in the pit lane. I think it's where the issues he was having during the practice sessions was coming, because he was not happy with the car, but he's sticking to it, it does seem. Now
we should get our first timed lap in right now from John Dalton, just about to cross the line in the Ford GT GT1. And he does it in a 2 minute 14.9.
Whitford joins in just behind, but that was including a pit stop, or a drive through the pit lane. So,
also in the lower class.
there's a big gaggle of GT3 cars coming across into that source right now, with Martin Kovalainen leading the pack. Behind us, two BMWs. I believe those 2 cars in the BMWs are teammates. Maximin van den Hoeve and Bram Moral. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But they seem to be slipstreaming all the way along the Camel Straight with one of the Nissans behind, and in the distance you can see two of the Mercedes. Mercedes AMGs in particular. Interestingly to note in this series, there is in the GT3 cars, the most popular car does seem to be Mercedes, so it's a first for this, for us at least anyway, to see so many Mercedes on track at once. Of course, excluding the community event, which ran on Saturday, which obviously had a lot of Mercedes in that race. We have a few more cars now. We have Tom Dentist is now on the server, as well as Connor Mathiasson, both in the Ford GT.
John Dalton about to cross the line to improve his lap time. And so he goes down to way 2:13.6. As well, Mark Whitford about to cross the line. Let's see, they need a big improvement there, of course, not running through the pit lane this time. So he will be running or so far it's been running a 2:18.4.
over the line or across the line. Does not set a time. Oh, he does set a time lap. It's a 2:18.3.
So just ahead of Whitford.
Yep, just ahead of Whitford.
With Tom Dentist sets a fastest global sector 1. 2 tenths down on John Dalton.
Now heading towards through campus, which is I think the correct term now of that corner is campus. But people call it whatever, because Spa's such an old track at this point. It's the original names somewhat stick to people who know them.
Yeah, the Formula 1 YouTube channel did a great video on that, and all the different names that these corners have. So there's a lot more confusion than just OVRC and Radion, which is the one that comes up all the time.
Dentist will cross the line and puts himself in P1 with a 2 minutes 12.6.
Marcus Lawrence, the current leader of GT3, is also improving his lap. And he's coming up to campus now. So just nearing the end of Sector 2.
Yeah, the Sector 2 line is somewhere around where he is now, just
there he is.
on the exit of turn 16.
Unfortunately, the lap time is compared to the GT1 cars, so that doesn't really tell us how much he has improved in
compared to his.
Wait. Yeah, he's in the GT3 Nissan.
Yep, he is in the GT3 Nissan, and it is a GT1 Nissan. And once that does appear on track, we will try and show you what the difference is between them, because when you're looking at them from far, they look very similar, but once you know the little details, you can quite clearly tell the difference between the two cars.
Right, looks like Lawrence just shaved about a second of his time. As Hillemans just put himself in 4th position.
Thomas Jensen, who's yet to set a lap time yet, is now suddenly his first times lap, with up by 0.393 in the first sector as he's heading through Puon. As I believe you can hear in the front is one of the GT3 Nissans, which makes that iconic V6 twin turbo sound, and it's quite a unique sound on the Nissan. Sally, on the other hand, makes a very much a grumble noise, because it has a V8 in the back.
Luckily, these sounds are all very well done in race room, of course, one of the things it's well known for.
With the traffic getting a bit of a way with his timed lap. Tiny bit, but you can also see the acceleration difference between the two cars as he's already trying to make the move as Nissan dives the other way.
As Jensen does put in P1 with a 211.9. So that's 7 tenths up on Dentist. Dentist is improving his lap right now. He's faster than Jensen.
Bit wide there on the exit of 10-11. You see how much that affects his lap as he heads to turn 13. He's got one of the Z4s of David Simon in front. Nice to see the return of the Z4 again after It's sort of being used a lot in Season 2, mostly by me and Thomas at the time, but it's now once again back in use again, and as we have now 19 cars in the session right now, only 12 have set times, as Tom Dennis has to make the move on the GT3. His lap has been invalidated beforehand. I believe he got invalidated at turn 11. That's quite an easy spot for the laps to get invalidated at. Quite a big gang of cars behind Vistendo, who's in the SLS Mercedes. This is the older GT3 that Mercedes built. Compared to the modern AMG, it's been noted to be, in real life handling characteristics, a lot worse than the modern one. But in game, they all obviously have balanced performance applied to them, so they all have an equal chance of winning a race. It's all about the driver.
Right, as Tom Dentis just set the fastest Sector 1 overall, so about a tenth up on, or down actually, more accurately, on Jensen.
And we did have a car fly off the top of Radion. I believe it was one of the Porsches. I can't remember which one. I think it was the Alexander in the 912 Porsche. He went off at the top of Radion. As we're once again watching Tom Dentis try and set the fastest lap, as he is hitting both global fastest Sector 2s.
So continuing his improvement so far. Seven tenths of Jensen is really not where we would expect him to be, so that should change fairly soon as he comes around the bus strip chicane now onto the main straight and crossing the line very shortly.
He does improve.
He takes, he doesn't take P1, but he's not far off.
Does lose a bit of time in the last sector, and I think it came from the bus stop. It's a bit scrappy there, a bit too much sliding around, but he's now once again back off again to try and see if he can remedy that situation. As we are watching one of the newcomers to the league in the number 4 Mercedes of Matt Mahed. I think that's how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Owen. Mr. I can actually pronounce things.
So Marcus Lawrence just did another big improvement on his lap in the current lead of GT3.
Quite a big gap between that and the car of Kovalainen.
Right. I'd expect Woodford to be able to shave off a lot of time right now. So we'll see. Still over 40 minutes left in practice as Tom Dentis improves Sector 1 overall once again by almost 3 tenths. So that's quite large. Coming up to the Sector 2 line now. So does he continue his improvement as he runs very wide, but he does, he's almost half a second down on the current lead time by Jensen. So I don't think his lap got invalidated by running wide there.
It's quite a bit faster than last time.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of traffic up ahead, but it shouldn't be too much in the way.
If anything, that's going to give him a slipstream.
Cross the line. That has to be invalidated. Yeah, that has to be
Right.
invalidated. It did not count as an improvement.
It's probably from running wide at Stafalo, I guess.
Now we've got
If
20.
that's what it's called, if I'm getting the names right.
There's 22 cars now on the server. The majority of them being the GT3 cars, which is not surprising because we got the it's nearly a 2-to-1 ratio difference between the two cars in GT3's favour. So there will be obviously quite a lot more GT3s running around the track compared to GT1s.
So, hope you all are enjoying the stream so far. Remember to click the like button if you're enjoying it and subscribe to our channel. Because we have to do some shilling, Alex.
You have to do something at some point.
That's how this works.
John Jolton is going to cross the line soon as he improves his times. Still a bit off the current leader's times as he gets an invalidated lap again. So it seems to be an issue somewhere in the last sector, forcing some people to have invalid laps. Marcus Lawrence, who's on another quick lap, who's currently still leading the GT3, I mean, in the Nissan. He's improved his Sector 1 time. Down he goes and over to the start finish line. He did not gain much time in Sector 2, so can he make it up in Sector 3? No, he doesn't, and he stays where he currently stands in the order.
You can see Mark Whitford behind him. Mark got his lap invalidated. So we'll be starting a new one. He's currently in P8, so I think that's P5 in the GT3.
Kovaline's having a bit of an issue with a Porsche in front. It's he's trying to set a private fastest lap. Couldn't get round him through a Blanchimont. So it looks like he's not going to have the improvement he wanted in his Audi R8. Once he's back in that car after leaving it for a season, he's back in his Audi R8. Last though is in the McLaren though, which is a very similar car, both mid-engined. Difference is one's got a V8 turbo, one's got a V10 in the back.
John Dalton just shaved 4/10 of his time, so he's getting closer to dentist, but he's still quite a way off. Of course, most of the GT1 field is still missing or hasn't set a lap.
Yep, we've still got Connor, who is on the server. He's driving around laps, but he's yet to set a time.
He is on a timed lap, but I'll keep an eye on him. So into sector 1, Connor is half a second off, and he just drifted into what's it called, Lecum. So yeah, he had to abort that lap, I think.
I believe we have another one of the new people on the server now. In the Mustang GT3. Can't quite read the name right now. It is blanked out. Oh, and Marcus Lawrence loses it in the source. And we're watching Connor with his, I believe, John Dalton and Connor are teammates right now.
Yes, they are.
So he's running right behind Connor, behind John, both in the Ford GT. As it does invalidate his Sector 2, unfortunately, so he's yet to set a time. But it is practice, so there's nothing much will be lost in the case of... Well, nothing is really lost. It's practice, and then it's about getting laps under your belt and not necessarily setting the fastest times. Robert Nygaard is out on track. He is back in his Audi once more from season 2. He drove his Audi to, I would say, very, very well in that season. He got very good results. Hasn't had quite the same luck since then in other cars, in season 3 at least. But it'd be good to see him back towards the top end of the field. Once again, he is in GT3, so he's got a very good chance of getting a good couple of podiums, maybe. But the GT3 field is very strong, though. Even with the normal top runners out of it into GT1, it's still a very top, very close field there, especially at the top end.
As John Dalton is once again trying to close the gap to Tom Dentist and Thomas Jensen. Looks like it will be, well, you could see Connor Mathieson going off into the gravel and behind John, so I don't think Connor is going to get a timed lap in this time either. So seems to be struggling a bit so far.
Currently 24 cars on the server. With our deck, Halskik back from the Checker Flag Endurance race a week ago now. He was racing in the LMP1 cars. He's now in GT1 here. We're going to see how well he will do in this series if he continues to keep going in that.
As John Dalton just saved half a second of his time, so making good progress there.
Got a bit of one of the GT3s in front of him. I believe that is Marcus. He's just got past. Kidman crosses the line.
Indeed, Marcus Lawrence.
He's saying his first time out. He's got a bit of front damage on his Mercedes though. And then he can probably hit a wall at some point and does lose the back end there, go for that source, so a bit of stability issues on that Mercedes right now.
Well, Hank Bizzle, if you go onto the live timing channel, you can see all the lap times.
Ove is currently round. He's in P11 overall. He's setting a personal fastest Sector 1. He's currently the fastest of all the BMW M6s. into the chicane he goes. As one of the cars in front has a spin. The almost has a spin as well.
Yeah, that's Matt Moorhead. Is in a white Mercedes.
Move across the line. He stays in his current position.
As Anton Kovalainen is also about to cross the line, so he moves up to P5. So that's second in GT3.
Tom Denta's fastest in Sector 1. But he loses a lot in Sector 2 though, and he has got Tom Jensen in front of him on track right now. While I don't think this lap will be an improvement, he does have his potential rival in front of him right now.
So it looks like a section now.
What Whitford is setting private personal sectors.
Right, let's see if he can get out of P7, because we do expect him to normally be at the front of the GT3 field. And he did not improve his position.
He'll be slightly struggling in. He's currently P4 in class. As Sebastian Brunier is now on the server in the Nissan. As you can see in front of Mark Wetton out, you can see the Mustang. A rare car to see in racing. It's
Who's in that?
where is he? You can see how slow it is through the corners right there.
Koen van den Mille.
Interesting fact about the Mustang is the oldest spec GT3 car in race room. It's from all the way from back from 2007, I believe. It's between the Ford Mustang or the Ford GT GT3 in terms of the oldest cars in the class. But you can tell the evolution of a GT3 car by just looking at the Ford. A lot simpler aerodynamics then. More about the wing on top and less diffusers and all the extra bits all over it. But there we go, we have one of these cars racing right now. He's currently all the way in the bottom of GT3 field. It could be worse. As we have a quick glimpse at Victor Berlin right now, he is trying. I believe he's setting a time. He was at least anyway. He's stopped now because I think he cut the track. Victor Berlin, from what I understand, is hoping for a good season. Hoping good result this season anyway. With the fact that a lot of the higher end top drivers moving up to GT1, he hopes he can try and grab himself a bit more podiums and stuff. But the funny thing about that is, with both Toms moving up to GT1 and a few others, the amount of good drivers from outside the OVRC have moved into GT3. Well, that's not going to happen, is it? There's a lot of very skilled drivers coming in now into the OVRC, and it's very good to see this having this many other drivers from other series coming and joining us. But somewhat has ruined some of the OVRC's members' plans for their chance of victory in class. As he heads through into the chicane now. As we can not have a look at Sebastian Brunier. He's still in his outlap. Now, slight issue is actually more cars right now on track than is actually can fit in my live timing on one single page. There's currently 26 cars on track.
I think 26 is also about where the the current standings on the left of the screen cuts off, as it seems Radek Balexek has just set his first timed lap in the Saleen GT1, 1.6 seconds off of Jensen.
With that in mind, I believe we... Oh, catch that, we have a car sideways at the top of Radion. I believe that was Robert Nygaard. And he had an issue then. He was sideways through the classic pit lane exit. Because the pit lane for the classic goes all the way up past Erosion Radion at the top there. And exit just before the Camel Straight. So, with that now in mind, I think we should head to a quick break. We'll be right back.
Actually, should I go over the orders so far before we go to a break?
Yeah, let's quickly go over the order right now.
Okay, so I'll put that up. In first, we have Thomas Jensen, and with currently a 211.9, but I think he is improving right now. And then we've got Tom Dentist behind in second position. In third, John Dalton, Radek Balexek in fourth. Then we've got the GT3 field with so far in first position in the GT3, Marcus Lawrence, followed by Anton Kovalainen, Pepijn Hillemans, Mark Woodford, Jordan Wansik, Andreas Kuderman, Joe Blow, Maxim van den Hove, Thomas Seak, Thijs Dendo, Matt Moorhead, Robin Sutherland, Alexander Seger, Robert Nygaard, Anthony Malloy, David Simon, and Bram Morrill. So people that haven't set the time yet so far, but are in the session, are Koen van den Mele, Sebastian Brunier, Victor Berlin, Conor Steeson, and Eloy Caballo.
That done, we should now head to a break. Welcome back everyone to the OVRC GT Series Season 4 race at Spa-Francorchamps. We're back after a quick break, at least on the casting side. Back into practice session, we've got 20 minutes left to go. And as we've got currently 27 cars in the session right now. Quite a few cars right now. Turning laps. Tom Dentist is setting fastest times. Jensen has proved his time since we were gone. He's now 2:11.686, 0.3 seconds faster than Tom Dentist. Tom Dentist crosses the line now. He puts himself P1. So Tom Dentist has taken P1 off Jensen in this practice session. Saying that, Thomas Jensen takes it immediately back after that lap, so you know. There's like a really interesting fight at the top end, at least. Mark Whitford is setting a personal fastest sector 1 in the Porsche 911. He's on the quest to try and get past Marcus Lawrence in the Nissan. Lawrence ran out over a second faster than anyone else in class, may I add. Oh, we're heading across the line right now. Itself all the way into P2 in class. So this is Andrew heading into our source now in the SLS. He's currently all the way down in P11 overall. Victor Berlin looking to set his first timed lap in practice. As one of the BMWs in front that seems to have gone off then, judging by the tyre smoke and the skid marks across the tarmac.
Yeah, Tom Dentist also just went wide again at the exit of Stavelo, so he was on an improvement, but he's got his lap time invalidated.
I saw Thomas Jensen off at Blanchimont, I believe. He was off to the side, so I don't know what he was doing then. Vince Berlin heads into the pits again. They're aborting this lap at least. Robert Nygaard currently all the way down in P18, looking to set a faster time. But Marcus Lawrence is definitely the fastest car on track in GT3 right now, because he's still got way over a second gap over the next car in class, so it's interesting to see how well he will do in the race, but at that pace right now he looks like he is the fastest car there. Thomas Jensen, fastest sector 1. A tiny bit of traffic up ahead in the BMW in front. hopefully not be meeting him going down. Saying that, there's no BMW in front of him as well. Number 19 BMW.
So we have 27 people in the session right now. I don't think we've had that many before. As you can see, one of the BMWs going off in the background. That was Bram Morrow.
Thomas Jensen lost a lot of time, it seems, in Sector 2, so I think those BMWs did affect him during his timed run. And he aborts his lap, into the pits he goes. John Dalton improves his Sector 2, so he's looking to try and move himself up the order a bit more. He's currently P3 in class. He stays P3 in class. But his lap did get invalidated, it seems. Hoover is currently improving his times in the BMW. I still have a few cars yet to set timed laps right now. There's Cub Morel, Timothy Haynes, Victor Berlin, Connor Mathiasen, Elo Cabrero, and Sebastian Brunier. Carbello. Carbello? I can pronounce names.
Caballo.
Caballo. Can't really see his name very well because he is greyed out. Right, okay, he is in the pit lane. Few cars seem to have an issue with rear traction going into the chicane though. I've seen a couple of cars at the back end step out, so I think you need to be a bit more careful on throttle, it seems, as Hoove crosses the line. As
Yeah, the chicane at Spa is definitely a difficult corner. It's always, yeah, you want to get on the throttle exactly when you have the traction, because otherwise you're going to lose. It can be difficult to figure that out. Because I think a lot of cars do indeed struggle with traction through there. At least in this case, you've got, if the GT3s, you've got traction control, which makes things a bit easier. I also find it a difficult one in the F1 cars in AC. So if you get on the throttle too early in that, you just spin out immediately. So I'd imagine traction control would be a big help through there.
but
But GT1s don't have that.
No, they don't. They don't have ABS or traction control. So they're completely reliant on the driver as Tom Denter sets a faster Sector 2 in the GT1. We do seem to have both Nissan GT1s now on the server, with Gonzalez, I believe, has joined in the other one. The number 5 Nissan. Tom Dentist takes P1 again. Now have 28 cars on these in the session.
As Tom Dentist just went into the barrier. Pit
entry on Spa is a very difficult pit entry to get into. It's a 90-degree angle pretty much from going through the chicane. Not the easiest thing in the world to get right.
As Thomas Jensen just goes 3 tenths down in sector 1. So that's a big improvement. Let's see if we can carry that through into sector 2. As he runs a bit of the track there, not sure if it's enough to get his lap invalidated, but
It's
might
very
be.
wide there.
And yeah, he got invalidated.
I think it's going to be the biggest issue in qualifying is who can get a fast, clean lap in. Because the track limits around certain corners are very strict indeed, and it's very much going to work out how much you can use before you go off. And sometimes you just can't help it. You go a bit fast into a corner, and your car just naturally goes out wide. So under 10 minutes to go in the session.
They're in my area, so apologies if you can hear that. As Robert Nygaard is improving his lap. As actually he just moved down to P15 as Haynes takes 13th.
Who's just sector 2? Currently have 24 car set times as Sebastian Brunier sets his times lap in the Nissan.
So Caleb Gonzalez just joined in the GT1 Nissan, and he's been a very promising driver in the 2 community races I've broadcasted at Road America and at Monza last Saturday. He's been a very fast driver, so let's see if he can challenge Dentist and Jensen once again.
But Nygaard shoots his way all the way up into P12, I think, so he's moved up quite a bit. A quick look, as you can see, we're now watching the Nissan GTR GT1 version. Now the reason I'm looking at this is now you have a chance to look at the slight differences between the two cars. The main differences are the rear wings. This one's a slightly smaller rear wing actually, because a lot more of the aero is done through underneath the car. It's also got a little tiny little bit of dive plane on the side, and that's about it. Also sounds different. And he gets very wide there in the exit of turn 16. But there you go, you can have a quick look at the Nissan. Try not to confuse yourself too much when the race starts.
A lot of the GT1 drivers especially seem to be going wide at that turn. Sometimes getting their laps invalidated. It doesn't look to be the case for Brunier this time around, but he is back in the pits, okay. So maybe he wasn't validated after all.
Kovalainen
As
crosses.
he scrapes the wall on the pit entry.
Kovalainen does not seem to have quite the pace yet to catch up to the leaders, as still Marcus Lawrence has still got the fastest time in GT3. Slowly approaching the 5-minute mark. Some of the drivers will be deciding every time to pit in, get ready for qualifying. Berlin's trying to go round right now, trying to improve his time. It's very wide through Puon. And yes, he goes very wide out of it. But this lap not going to count. I believe it's Gonzalez behind him. He's setting not setting a time right now, but is just going on an out lap quickly. David Simon is currently all the way down in P23 overall, so looking to improve his position.
Caleb Gonzalez has started his first timed lap, but he's got the GT3 Mustang of Koen van den Amele in front of him. Looks like he got passed on the Camel Straight though, so I don't think that will have cost him any time. So it will be interesting how he does through Sector 1. And no, his lap got invalidated. So we won't find out how fast he is quite yet.
Definitely be able to set another timed lap in practice.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with that.
So it looks like we're going to find its pace in qualifying.
Victor Berlin just goes faster in his Sector 1. He's currently down in P13. As we are now nearing the end of practice, so I'll go over the order once again. In first, we have Tom Dentist with a 211.3, followed by Thomas Jensen, John Dalton, Radek Pelexek, and Sebastian Brunier. Then in the lead of GT3, we have Marcus Lawrence, followed by Mark Whitford, Anton Kivlainen, Pepijn Hillemans, Jordan Wansink, Andreas Kuderban, Robert Nygaard, Victor Berlin, Thijs Dendo, Joe Blow, Thomas Seyak, Maxim van den Hove, Robin Sutherland, Matt Moorhead, Alexander Secher, Anthony Malloy, David Simon, Bram Morel, and Koen van den Amele. The people who have not set a lap in this session are Connor Mathieson in the GT1 Ford, Eloy Carballo and Timothy Haynes, both in GT3, and then in GT1 Caleb Gonzalez.
So a few cars yet to set times, but it's only practice, so none of the results from this really matter in the grand scheme of things.
I think Haynes did set a time before, but he must have left the session since then, and I think he was doing pretty well.
See how well he does do. I think the only car we've not seen out on track has been Eloy. He's an unknown variable in this, because I don't think he's actually been out on track at all in the session, as we do reach the closing stages with 7 seconds to go.
As Pelexek comes up to the finish line, so maybe he can still finish his lap, I don't know.
Yes, he does it. No, he does it. His timing thing does appear, but does not improve it enough to really move his position up. And there we go, that's the end of practice, as we now will move into the qualifying, and first the driver's briefing.
Right, welcome everyone to the first race of the season on Spa-Francorchamps. I'm just going to go through a few important things for this race, because for many people it might be the first multi-class race they've done, and just some general stuff. So the first thing is that we have an hour race with 2 times fuel enabled. This means that you have to do a pit stop in both GT3 and GT1, because you will run out of fuel. And tires is fully up to you. It takes 30 seconds to change your tires, so it's up to you if you can make up that advantage. Of course, the pit entry is always tricky, so make sure to practice that if you haven't already. You can still do that in qualifying as long as you don't impede anyone. Just make sure you have all your buttons bound, like the pit limiter, and call your pit stop, and set your pit stop presets, because then you don't have to do all the thinking during the race. Then some track-specific stuff here on Spa. I think the main corner always is Eau Rouge and Radion. It's a very tricky corner, even on your own, so try to avoid going side by side there. Of course, it's not illegal, but only do it if you really know what you're doing and respect each other, give each other space. Which also goes to the next point of the cut track penalties. They are not on our server, so you will not get a penalty if you go wide to avoid someone, but of course still you have to respect the track limits.
I see some people going out on track right now. That's not allowed.
Yeah, don't go out on track if you're in the voice chat. During the race briefing, we're staying in the pit lane. But yeah, about the cut track penalties, you can report anyone that abuses it, obviously. Of course, going wide accidentally a few times is not a problem. If you clearly abuse it intentionally, you will get penalties. Another thing about the track is the pit entry in the bus stop chicane. If you are fighting with someone, make sure you make it clear that you are going into the pit lane. If you are on the left in the bus stop, you cannot cross over to the pit lane, so just make sure you watch out for that. Then for the multi-class stuff, if you have crew chief, make sure you have the spotter enabled. It makes it a lot easier when lapping or getting lapped. And for the slower class, if you get a blue flag, just drive predictably, stay in your line. Don't change line suddenly, because that will just make it more dangerous. The GT1s will go around you. They will make their way past. Just don't fight them. It's the only thing you have to do. Then for the faster class, just be patient, don't force it, no dive bombs. Because also the GT1 brakes are actually worse than the GT3 brakes. So also keep that in mind if you've just been lapped in by a GT1. They are going to brake earlier than you are in a GT3. Don't run into them accidentally, because they have a longer braking zone. And then the most important thing, of course, the rolling start procedure. I hope you've all read the procedure in the GT series channel. And if you haven't, you can read it back after this, but I'll go through it quickly. So from the start, the GT1s pull away, and 60 seconds later the GT3s pull away, and then they follow the same procedure. You just follow the leader in a single file, so no overlap allowed. And then once you get to the last straight, so before, it's just after Stavelo, there's a Paul Frere. If on the curb on the left, when that ends, about there, the leader will go on the pit limiter to bunch up the field. The rest just follows. And make sure you have as close a distance as possible to the car in front, so you don't get left behind. And then after turn 18, which we usually call Blanchiment, it actually isn't, that's where the leader can go whenever he wants. And as I said, there's no fake starts allowed, so no accelerating and braking again. Just you go whenever you want to, and then the race is on. And if the leader outbrakes himself to the hairpin, or not the hairpin, the chicane, it's his fault. You can just overtake him. It's green flag for starting from the braking zone into the bus stop. Is everything clear for the rolling start, especially?
what if faster class like GT1 qualifies midfield?
The GT1 will always start in front,
So you are
even
a
if you
bit faster.
qualify. Even if you qualify last, you will start in front of the GT3s, so that's not a problem.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the most important part is the GT3s have to wait on the grid for 60 seconds. So don't immediately start and run into the back of someone. Just wait patiently until 59 minutes on the timer, and then the leader can go. There's no problem if you go a second early, just about 60 seconds, that's fine. Okay, anything else? Then
Nope.
the last thing for the voice chat that we're in right now, you can stay here if you want, but it's not for chatting. It's just in case you have something important, if you are stuck on the track, or if you crash with someone, you can say sorry. And for after the race, then we can have a chat about the race. If you want to discuss stuff with your team, just do a private call, because this is just meant to be for important stuff. Okay, then everyone is free to start qualifying.
So, that was a driver's briefing completed.
Yeah, Mark Whitford was quick out of the pits,
As
drifting
normal.
forward onto the pit lane.
As is
immediately.
normal for him, he is always quite quick at getting out there, and there we go. That's the quick
So,
run.
29 drivers in this qualifying session.
James
I don't
Butler.
think we've ever come anywhere near that.
Yeah, we got a late join of James Butler. I don't know if he was in the driver's briefing. Hopefully he was. A bit of issues with some drivers driving out, but they did return to the pits and not set a qualifying time, so that shouldn't be too much of a penalty given to them. But there you go. That was the gist of the rolling start procedure. Hopefully it should be flawless. I believe most of the cars are on track now.
Yeah, there's still a couple of people in the pits, but all but 2 drivers are now out on track. As it seems, Mark Whitford will be the first to cross the line and start his timed lap.
Well, I don't know. John Dalton's behind the Ford GT, so
Right, he might overtake.
So Dalton's going to be hoping to get overtaken before he gets anywhere near there. So, but this will be an interesting race, and
Of course, I'm wondering where Caleb Gonzalez will end up.
oh, and there's
As you
Dalton.
see, Mark Whitford lets John Dalton past.
He's still got plenty of room for the car behind. Doesn't need to really fight the Ford GT in the qualifying. This GT will just get past him anyway. As Dalton starts the first timed lap. Down into the last source he goes. And starts heading down the hill. Past the old pit straights. Now into a Rouge.
As Victor Berlin is currently waiting at the pit lane exit. So trying to find himself a gap.
Alright, down the camel straight, Dalton goes. Hard on the brakes. Into the comms. Through Pouon.
So it looks like the fastest sector 1 so far belongs to Tom Dentist, with a 35.1.
On 39.171 for John Dalton, Sector 2, as he heads through Blanchimont. Into the chicane. He goes down to start finish straight to set the first timed lap of this qualifying session. And he puts down a 2:12.5.
Now he does have the fastest sector 2 so far.
Let's put some cars starting to set. Lawrence sets already the fastest GT time. Brunier is a bit slow in his GT1. It's a big pack of cars now coming from Dendu. As we start getting a lot of time being set now, there's a lot of cars crossing the line. Dentist is slower than Dalton though. In GT1.
Yeah, Dentist seems to have lost a lot of time to Dalton in sector 2.
Cove Line to be one of the next cars to cross the line. And he puts himself into P5.
Actually, yes, Dentist times on the lifetime were quite a bit off, so I'm not sure that's correct.
John Dalton's already got the fastest sector 1 again, so he's looking to improve his times. As all cars are now on track, all cars are now on track. So all 29 cars are all trying to qualify at once. Saying that, Gonzalez does seem to have stopped, so maybe he's going again.
As Tom Dentist is half a second down on the current P1 time from Dalton. Dalton was
I believe Sebastian Brunier's time is not representative of the time he's going to set in qualifying, because he is all the way in P8 overall right now, which is way in the GT3 pack. Tom Dentist moving through start wheel.
So then this is half a second faster than Dalton's current time, which he's doing right now in sector 2. So we can see Dalton has improved quite a lot, but Tom Dentist is faster so far as he heads into the bus stop chicane. So if he can carry the speed through, he should be able to go faster than Dalton.
A bit scrappy on the exit then. But he does go faster.
There goes up in the one.
A pack of cars coming through the GT3 cars, as Robert Nygaard is in this pack. He moves up to P9. James Butler gets their time. He is the late joiner, so we don't know what sort of place he'll be putting himself right now in that McLaren. He's in the very, very shiny number 3 McLaren, as he goes very deep into the bus stop, and it looks like he's going to be heading straight to the pit lane. Gordon is currently in the Nissan. He's going to try and set he's currently in P12 behind Berlin. There's still a very full track right now. We've got to put the session countdown on, but 10 minutes to go. So not long to get some time lapse in. Currently P1 in GT3, Mark Lawrence has improved his first sector time.
As it seems that Connor Matheson just put himself P4. We did not see a timed lap from him in practice, but put himself in P4 so far, behind Caleb Gonzalez and in front of Radek Paleksak. But still quite far off his teammate John Dalton in P2.
Marcus Lawrence heads into the chicane now.
Also gonna have to keep an eye on Thomas Jensen, who hasn't set a time yet. So it will be an interesting battle between him and Dentist, and maybe Gonzalez can still get involved as well. I've seen promising results from him in other non-OVRC races that I've been commenting on.
Marcus Lawrence does improve his time in the Nissan, so he continues to extend his lead in the GT3.
Thomas Jensen so far is 3/10 down on Dentist, as he just finished Sector 2.
He's one of the few cars yet not set a time.
Right, but he's coming up to the bus stop chicane now. So we should get a lap in from him very shortly, as he goes a bit drifty through there.
Because it's been P2, but I don't see it's been P1, especially that chicane, and there you go. Hot.
P2. Yeah, just in the sector somehow, but
John Dalton. John Dalton right now has improved both his sectors, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to beat the cars in front. Still 0.4 of a second down on the leaders.
Yeah, Dalton hasn't really been on the level of the cars in front in practice either. So I do expect him to slot in P3 unless Gonzalez can pull something off.
I mean, if he got a chance of snapping P2 off Jensen if he can't improve his current time, because he's about 1/10 off Jensen's current time. As Denji is going to cross the line into the SLS, puts himself up to P18, just behind Victor Berlin.
As both Radek Paleksak and Connor Matheson are working so it looks like Paleksak is going ever so slightly faster than Matheson through Sector 1.
Bit of traffic up ahead for the Radek currently. He's trying to get through some of the traffic of the GT3s.
As Paleksak is about to cross the line. See what he does. It seems to P5, and Matheson had abandoned that lap and back into the pits. So I think he's now heading out on track again. Yes, he is. Just exiting the pit lane now.
Slight issue the fact that the timing board has gone all the way off the bottom of the screen. So 28 cars with times and it's 26 cars in display, so quite a lot of cars right now on track. or in the session as a whole. As we head over 5 minutes now.
As Thomas Jensen just goes fastest in Sector 1. 1/10 down on the current Sector 1 by Tom Dentist.
It's past one corner in the Ford. Down into campus. A few cars do move around, and the bottom also goes a bit wide out of through the corner. Very wide, and he does invalidate his lap. So he's got 3 minutes to go, 3 minutes 40 to go, and he's probably going to get one lap in, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. So he's going to have to keep driving, start another lap. As Caleb Gonzalez is also improving his lap, though it doesn't look like he can gain any positions with this one.
Still quite far off the pace of the top three, at least.
Yeah, well, he has been up to the... Well, he did just improve his time by quite a lot, but he's still not near the top three. He has been mixing it up with Dentist and Jensen in other races, though, so maybe he just hasn't had much practice for Spa. Maybe it's just not his track, but I think he should be able to mix it up with them. As Thomas Jensen once again goes fastest in Sector 1. Actually, Gonzalez goes fastest in Sector 1.
I mean,
So that's going to make things very interesting.
Nissan, in theory, should be the fastest in the straight line, because the way that balance of performance is done for these cars, the Nissan is the fastest in a straight line. To make up for the fact that it does handle somewhat like a brick. So it should have a quite
And this lap.
interesting to see as a few cars do start returning to the pits now, because it's not really enough time to set another lap after these ones. These cars are currently on. So this is these cars' last shots at getting an improvement time lap in. And Murher to get a timed lap in at all. He's currently out there. He's not set a timed lap at all. He's currently saying that he does eventually set one and puts himself P23.
Gonzalez is 3/10 off in Sector 2. So maybe he can take P3, but I don't think he's going to have a shot at P1 or P2. He did have some traffic, unfortunately.
This track's always been the one that the Nissan might have a slight struggle at, just because it has the straight line advantage, but it's at the corners. It's going to lose a lot in Sector 2, but he is going to cross the line. And he's going to put himself P2. So he does snatch it away from Jensen. So Jensen is in slight trouble now, because he is in P3. Not where he wants to be, because he sort of expects himself to be pole position, but Tom Dentist is currently in that spot.
Yeah, I think Jensen got his last lap invalidated again, because he had returned to the pits in the middle of his lap. But that will be it for qualifying.
Yep,
Tom Dentist takes pole position.
Don't think we're going to see many more times improved.
Followed by Caleb Gonzalez and Thomas Jensen, John Dalton, Radek Polexek, Columbus Thiessen and Sebastian Bruni in the GT1. In GT3, pole position goes to Marcus Lawrence, followed by Pepijn Hillemans, Andres Kuderman, and a bunch of other people which I can't see anymore.
So, countdown begins now to start. I think Tom, it's either going to be a fight between. I think Tom Dentis is going to have quite the advantage here as cars prepare to sit on the grid. Now, I have to make the mistake of this time. Remember, it is a rolling start this time.
So let's hope the rolling start will go well.
Yeah, it should. So, all
Hopefully
the cars
everyone's read the
the thing and
yeah.
knows what is going on. So, all the cars are now lined up, as I believe one car might be in the pit lane. Because not all cars are on the grid right now.
So the GT1s will start first, and then after 60 seconds, the GT3s will head off and prepare for their rolling start.
Yep. So far, seems very well behaved by the GT3s, as well, all of them are in the starting grid, or on their positions anyway. They've got 30 more seconds at halts.
So according to the live timing, by the way, there's 3 people in the pits right now in GT3. It's Thijs Dendo, Matt Moorhead, and Mark Woodford.
So the GT3s. Yes, I. Alright, and now the GT3s are on the move now. Mark Lawrence does seem to have a somewhat early leave, but doesn't seem to be too much of an issue as everyone else is now making their way around the track.
The opposite side of the track right now, so it shouldn't be an issue.
The GT3s are going a bit faster around on their outlap than the Mercedes, so as they all start weaving across the line. As the GT1 pack is still very close together, so Tom Dent is very much keen on trying to keep those cars together. Interesting the fact that the cars are currently in the pit lane. Got Mark Whitford in there. Chris Envu, and so it'll be interesting to see what's going to be happening for those lot. So, all the GT3 field are bunched together right now. The start should be absolutely fine for them.
So we are getting a report from Mark Whitford. Apparently, he turned his engine off to save fuel, and then it retired him. So that's why he's in the pits.
Yep. And Tom Dentis, I believe, is off the limiter now as he heads into the.
Matt Moorhead, by the way, also reporting that he's been kicked into the pit
Tom
lane
Dentis goes very deep then.
Yeah.
He's now going to be starting the line, so all seem to be managed to make their way through. Tom Jensen's going to make a move on the back of Gonzalez, but just holds back for now. Some of the cars in the background do lose a bit of traction then.
Jensen, he looks like he wants to take P2 from Gonzalez, but the GR start.
The GT3 is now underway as well now. They're heading to the bus stop now, and they are going to go green as well now. Oh, GT3s are now away as well. A few bit movement around right now in the GT3 class. GT1 slowly do spread their way out. Thomas Jensen needs to make his move back onto Gonzalez.
Columbus isn't looking to make the move on Polakzak. Stop. A bit oversteer for Mathiesen. Looks like he's staying behind for now. He does get closer. Great.
Oh, and Gonzalez does lose a bit of control there, going up. And one of the other cars behind.
Overtaken by Jensen.
Oh! And Braddock does lose control, going to the top of Radion. His car seems to be okay, apart from a bit of damage on it, but he's moving again. But that's going to be really unfortunate for him if he has taken any engine damage.
Meanwhile, in Quiverline getting very close to Kuderman now in the bus stop. It looks like Kuderman got a bit of oversteer.
Gonna make a move. He sticks behind for now. Up they go. Quiverline's going to have a lot of slipstream right now. On the back of that Mercedes in front of him. As Thomas Jensen does seem to have made the move onto Gonzalez and now moves into P2.
So looks like Thijs Dendo also shutting off his engine. So it looks like shutting off your engine off the grid will get you booted to the pit lane.
I think it's part of the system to stop cars with dead engines staying on the track and stuff. It's part of, so it's, if your engine is off, it will put you back to the pit lane. And I think unfortunately people have been caught out by that. Meanwhile, in the
Jensen looks to make the move on Dentist.
Dentist around the outside through
And Lecum.
and does actually get back in front again. But Gonzalez is also hanging with these lot as well.
Looks like Quiverline is making the move on on Kuderman now. And he has managed to make his way past.
Gonzalez slowly dropping off the back of this pack as Jensen's going to try making another move. Can't really make it around turn 18. There's not really enough room. But he's going to make it in the bus stop though. No, he doesn't. He sticks behind for now as well.
So meanwhile in the GT3 it looks like there's a battle developing between J1 Sync and Victor Berlin.
So there's a little pack of as Kovalainen has made the move on Kurderman. Robert Nygaard is right behind one of the other Mercedes in a Mercedes sandwich right now. So he's going to try and get out of this as soon as possible because you don't want to be in a situation like this. He's got Timothy Haynes in front of him and John.
As Thomas Jensen looking to make the move again on Dentist in Le Com.
And he looks like he's going to make
And
it
he's
happen
made
now.
his way past this time around.
Oh. There's the lead change for GT1. As one of the cars, Heidemann has lost it on turn 16. He was in the barrier, I believe, and he is losing positions very quickly. He does seem to have front end damage. As both his lights are off on that Mercedes AMG of his. And if he's got any more damage than what he has right there.
Connor Mathieson is sticking closely behind his teammate John Dalton for a while now.
Joe below looks to make a move on Robert Nygaard, but holds back for now. Saying that, he gets very close once again, and does a bit of contact there through as both cars do head off, one into both barriers. Joe below does seem to hit the back as he turns out right in front of other traffic. That's not a good thing to do at all, as he nearly collected Hillemans in the process. Not a believe of another retirement. Don't know who it is though.
David Simon has retired.
An incident with him happened along the way. as Roland gets passed by Hullemans. Oh, and someone's
So
entered the pits.
Maxim van den Hoven is looking very close to Robert Nygaard
I think we
right
have one
now.
of the cars in the
Camel Straight,
pits.
they're going side by side.
One of the cars is in the pits right now. El Carbolello, he in the McLaren, he is pitted.
Yeah.
Very early pit stop.
So Caballo is changing tires right now.
As the packs are slowly splitting up now, as it sort of happens in this stage of the race.
Polaczek looks to make the move on Brunier into Lecon. There goes side by side, Brunier on the inside. And Polaczek has managed to make his way past.
He managed one position up after he started all the way in I think he started P5. So he's got one more position to make up, but that's quite 8 seconds gap now between the car him and the car in front.
As Nygaard just moved up the inside of Van den Hoven into the source. So Nygaard has taken P18. Now Van den Hoven is trying to come back on the Camel Straight.
But we're now going to hold the inside line. Listen to brake a bit later and manage to stay in front for now.
Looking at the live timing right now, it seems Eloy Caballo has been in the pits twice actually.
Possibly for a drive-through, I'm assuming, maybe for speeding.
I guess so. Is still closely behind John Dalton. They're in the middle of some GT3 traffic right now.
They seem to very much be applying maybe some fuel-saving tactics going on there with using the slipstream as they are coming around. as one of the other GT1s slowly approaches the pack of this GT3 cars. I believe that is Radek in the Saline. Source, the McLaren does give way. It's going to have one hell of a challenge to get past these other ones as they are heading into a Rouge now, down the hill. Does seem to get past the BMW, and now he's got the Mustang in front. Does seem to somewhat make good progress through them against what I would think would happen, as he catches them just in all the right places to make a move. Meanwhile, Tom Dentis is on the right in the back of Jensen. They were about over a second before, so something must have happened then.
Yeah, looks like Jensen and Dentis is also slowly pulling away from Gonzalez.
Gonzalez is definitely using time. Jensen once again goes very wide out the exit of turn 16. GT3 traffic up ahead. And he gets right in the way though of Tom Dentis though. Someone has to slam on the brakes then. I don't know if that was on the GT3 or not, because it would be very bad timing then, but off once more.
So Hillemans is currently closing up on Sacher. Sacher moves to the inside, but no, Hillemans is not yet close enough to make the move.
So this is now front-engined versus rear-engined, as the Porsche is a rear-engined car. The Mercedes is front-engined. Porsche is very well known for its rear traction. It gets out of corners. Gap. And the Hillemans was quite far up the order until he had some sort of incident in turn 16, so saying that he does go down the inside of the Porsche. Just pushed onto the grass then. And they're going side by side now through Blanchimont. And just hold on, goes very wide at the corner. I believe he does make the move work. Yes, he does.
Oh, Sacher loses it a bit through there.
As the GT1 leader is now starting to head through this paint, you can just see him in the distance then.
So, the rear traction at the moment.
That damage on the front of his car does not seem to be affecting the performance too much, as he is cutting his way through all of this traffic right now. Now right on the back of Robert Summerland's Nissan GTR, goes for the outside line. Something was very deep then. Was getting in the way then, and that was some seriously late braking then. As the Connor and John have switched around positions right now in GT1. Simmons does lose the back end again. We're not having the best race for him so far, as he does lose it and now back in the barrier again. And losing all those positions he spent so long trying to make up again. That's really unfortunate for his race. He's going to be losing his P. And there you go. He's now all the way down in P20. Not being a great race for him right now. GT1 traffic against way as he does get past, but doesn't allow Hove to make the move on Nygaard, but doesn't look like he actually stick that move. A lot of the GT1 field are now going to cut through the going to stay behind you for another lap. Tom Dentis has dropped off the back of Jensen, so I was going to do some early fuel saving.
So it looks like Conor Matheson has managed to make his way past his teammate John Dalton. They're still very closely together.
I think they're trying to do some fuel saving slipstream tactics, similar to Toyota at the Mans,
yeah,
when they were basically slipstreaming each other and then switching, because that might be a way to save fuel and more efficiently than the other cars. We will probably have to lift and coast to stay on a one-stop strategy.
So Gonzalez is now about 7 seconds behind Thomas Jensen, so this looks like Thomas Jensen is pulling ahead, even of Dentist, who's about 2.5 seconds behind now.
Feel a bit more. Jordan is closing on the back of Victor Berlin. Berlin probably will be pit stopping soon or something. He is going a bit way slower than he was before. So this thing's issue on, or he's going to pit. No, he doesn't.
So it looks like Jensen was actually 9/10 faster than Dentist on that last lap.
Heidemann is right on the back now of Joe, as I believe one of the Nissans has gone in the pit stops now. Robert Sunderland's gone in the pits, I believe. The pit stops are starting to happen now.
Yes, he has. One of the GT3 Nissans currently down in P20. Sutherland is changing tires.
Anthony Hildeman takes a very straight line across then of the top of Rallion. Starts trying to gain on the back of Joe Blow's Mercedes. So it's same car again, Mercedes vs Mercedes.
Looks like there's another car in the pits right now as well. It is one of the McLaren, I think. Indeed, it was James Butler. Currently down in 23rd in the Chrome McLaren. So it looks like he did not change tires.
Hillman's getting very close to the back of Blow's Mercedes in front. Just lose a bit of time then. 2. Then they both go very wide out of Blanchimont then. So they can have the opportunity to make the move now into the bus stop. 2 more cars start entering the pit lanes now. I think 2 of the GT1 cars went to the pit lanes now. Is that 3
Yes.
as I saw Sebastian Bruno in the background dive in.
Yes. So Caleb Gonzalez is changing tires. So is Radek Polacek.
It's more. We're going to start seeing a wave of pit stops now. I believe Connor's dropped way off the back of John Dalton right now, so he's 5 seconds back and they're right together. Something must have happened between those 2 cars.
Yes, Sebastian Brunier is now also changing tires, so it looks like all the GT1s
Oh, and
so far are changing
Hillemans
tires.
has lost it once again. So Hillemans is really not having the best race right now, as he was closing the back of Joe and then seems to just lose the back end somehow. So he's got either not enough stretch control or something wrong with his setup, but he's not having the best of time keeping that car facing the right direction. Here's your current race leader, Tom Jensen, as he passes the past Kunderman's Mercedes. And looking very. And the next car behind Tom Jensen is 3 seconds back, as you can just see him there going past the Spa-Francorchamps sign as Thomas Jensen enters the pits now. Both the leaders
Indeed,
in GT1 are entering the pits now.
Looks like Tom Dent is. So both Jensen.
There's a fight for the pit stops now between the leaders. Pit lane's starting to get very busy now, as I believe we have another of the GT1s entering the pits. I think it's John Dalton entering the pits now. And Connor as well. So it seems that most of the GT1 fields are now entering the pits at this stage. Well, Gordon is right on the back of Victor Berlin in the Mercedes. One of the back markers of Caballero in the McLaren. He's got a lot of front end damage there on the front of the McLaren. He must have hit a wall like at some point or had contact with another car.
So this is interesting. John Dalton and Conor Matheson are now leading GT1, so they did not change tires in the pit stop.
They're obviously going to try something different, but Thomas Jensen is only 2 seconds behind them. Meanwhile, in GT3, there's a couple of fights starting to brew up now, as Robert Nygaard is on the back of Alexander in the Porsche. make the move there because onto the grass. Loop launch on they go. A little bit of a lift then to make sure the car doesn't go wide. Oh, it was a big bit of contact there. Oh, another car gets collected in the process. Timothy Haynes is also collected. And a massive incident going into the bus stop chicane. That's going to be...
As it seems, there are some more GT3 cars in the pits, and on Quiverlinen. And... Jordan Wansink.
Thomas Jensen's made the move on to Connor.
As Timothy Haynes is also in the pit lane, and all of these cars are changing tires at the moment.
Connor trying to fight back against Thomas, but can't quite do it, and now has to worry about Tom Dentis behind him as well. Now it's Tom Dentis' turn to make the move on to Connor, as he's got a lot better exit through Rallion. Oh, and Connor does lose the car.
Yeah,
Lucky
Connor
doesn't
went onto the grass.
doesn't collect anyone, luckily, but he does.
Yeah.
Is very slow now and might get overtaken, possibly by Gonzalez. Doesn't look like he will, but he's a lot closer now to him. He has not got new tyres, remember, so he's running on an old set of tyres compared to all the cars around him. He's got to worry very much about that Nissan behind him, as he goes very deep into turn 10.
So it looks like Gonzalez will be sticking it up the inside, and he makes his way past.
Gonzalez now moves up to P4 and Connor drops back now. Connor's got a tiny bit of front damage on the front of his Ford. Nothing too serious right now. As my order is... Oh, that's the Porsche into the pits. The list is getting a bit confused right now.
Yeah, Alexander Sacher is in the pits.
Work out who's who right now in terms of positioning.
So Sacher is also changing tires, so that seems to be the strategy for this race, especially in GT3.
Haynes is on the back now of Robert Sunderland in the Nissan. He's looking to make the move on the exit of Radion. It does seem he's lining up his car to get the best exit he can.
As Hillemans is going up the inside of Sayek. And he made his way past, so he moves up into P11.
Haynes round the outside, doesn't make it. He switches to the outside again. He's getting better exits though than Robert Sunderland right now. This point is when can he make the move? Team very close to the back. Can't quite make the move though. That's the 20-minute mark has gone and passed.
So it looks like Hillemans and OneSync are in the pits now, both changing tires.
Haynes is now going to probably make the move down the inside of the source. He's lining up for one. Both take very tight angles then. And the side-by-side still going down the hill, past the old pit straight. But looks like Haynes just managed to poke in front just enough to take the position. Meanwhile, in GT1, Jensen's all over the back of John Dalton's Ford.
Yeah, Polaczek is also moving up on Mathieson. So it looks like Mathieson will be defending on the inside in this corner. As Polaczek takes the inside
Saying that,
in the next
oh,
little bit.
Tom Jensen gets blocked severely by Berlin in the Mercedes. Got nowhere to go. Trying to move on to John Dalton. There's action all over between the GT1 cars and the bus.
In the meantime, Polaczek did make his way past Mathieson.
They do make their way past the traffic though, but now they got race to the end now. As all these fights close to Tom Dent is getting to them.
Went off. This is where the night guard is in the pits. And he's moving back out on track now.
Thomas Jensen side by side. Side by side on the camel straight, and he does make the move work. He's now in front. Connor fight John meant fight back. No, he won't. So he's Jensen's now back into the lead of the race. Meanwhile,
someone's gone off at the bus stop.
Yep, Alexander's Porsche, he was stuck.
Lecher.
Yeah, he is back on the move again, but he was static for a minute then.
So Tom Dentis is also closing up on John Dalton now. Remember that Dalton did not take tires for Dentis and Jensen both did, so that's how Dalton ended up in front, but also why he's losing a lot of time now.
Denton applies a bit of brake then, so he doesn't go in the back end of him, but
he is gaining.
A bit of traffic up ahead of one of the backmarking McLarens.
Yes, indeed. They've got Eli Corbello
Oh, he's going around the outside, but he's going to be blocked by the McLaren. McLaren's just enough in front. There's going to be a slight issue now coming through the bus stop. And McLaren's even got more damage than I remember it having. It's now got both lights out, so he's had another instance, I'm assuming. They just managed to get past it. And this is a very poor getaway then. Successfully managed to make their way around the McLaren.
Right, as it does look like everybody's done their pit stop now. Because we're running 2-time fuel rate, so well, there's not technically a mandatory pit stop. You have to stop for fuel. It's up to the drivers whether they take tires or not.
John's a bit slow going for that the comms then. Round the outside, Tom Dentis goes. He's going to keep it going. We have the inside line in the next corner. You can see the grip level distance in the two cars, and Tom Dentis does make the move work into turn 11. Will John have another go coming into Puon? No, he doesn't. He stays behind for now.
Yeah, I don't think John really has a chance here on the old tires. So, expect Dentist to pull away from here and hopefully close the gap to Jensen.
It's a bit of a fight appearing now in GT3 as the damaged McLaren of Cabello goes against Armi's Ford Mustang. And then it goes directly down the inside of him and makes the move. Well, good move there. There's a bit of contact behind with one of the Nissans. The GTR GT1 Nissans anyway. Can't tell which one it is for now. I can't tell, can I need a side number? But anyway, it seems to be a bit of a miscommunication between the Mustang and it as he goes. I believe that's number 5, so that's Gonzalez right now. Cuts right in the front of the McLaren though, so.
As James Butler in the Chrome McLaren just comes out of the pits, so I'm not sure why he's in the pits again.
Joe Blow is closing on the back of Alexander in the Porsche.
Hillemans is also closing up on Van den Hove. Oh, as Hillemans just rear-ended Hove, so I think he was a bit too late on the brakes there.
Not be the best race for Hillemans as he is now back up in P16 after the pit stops, but he's struggling. He keeps having accidents or spinning off at various stages of the race. Kovalainen's dropped back a few places now as he is currently behind Kuderman in the Mercedes. He does make a very clean pass through the inside of Puon and managed to make the move work.
As Hillemans is looking to make a move up the inside at Lecombe. So yeah, looks like he's got past. I think Van den Hove really left the door open.
Kovalainen now. That's a Kovalainen, so now going to move on to the next out of Victor Berlin. Because Berlin has not taken tyres or something because he is all the way up in P2 in class. looks for the move, decides against it, and slots in behind for now.
So, but then does have Quiverline and then Kuderman coming up behind him. So, if he indeed did not change tires, he's gonna have a difficult last 10 minutes of the race.
Quiverline does go down the inside then, as we switch to the onboard camera of him, unfortunately. So he does make the move work, and now he's taken P2 in class.
Oh, someone just went into the barriers at Lecombe.
Oh, it's Robert Nygaard. He's in the barriers.
So the Audi death trap strikes yet again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but he was in the barriers. Managed to get out of it. I don't know how many places he lost because of that, but yeah, something went off then.
I think he has lost one position now, does that? So he was closely behind one sink. So almost all of the GT3 field has been lapped now, and it looks like Jensen is coming up to Lawrence. So Jensen has about a 7-second lead on Dentist now, so looks like he'll be able to take this win if nothing goes wrong from here. He is controlling the pace.
I mean, he just set the fastest lap, I believe. Last lap, so...
Oh yeah, he did.
So he is definitely controlling the pace right now. I mean, he's nearly a second faster than anyone else on track. Hillerman's now once again behind Hoofs again.
Yeah. Through Eau Rouge now, up to Rodion. And onto the Camel Straight. Just closing in now.
A lot better exit there.
He looks at the inside.
No defensive moves really from Hose, but decided to drop him back. Oh, he's gonna rear end the back though.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
given up. Yeah, Hillemans has retired.
tied the car. It's a shame for him. Him while in the back. It's a fight between two McLarens now in GT3. As GT1, as Connor just trying to get past all of them. And he does make the move though for the bus stop. Was James Butler trying to make the move back or not? Haynes closing the back of Robert Nygaard after Robert Nygaard's incident with the wall at the comms. And he does make the move. Thomas Jensen currently got a very clean lead right now, as he's got an 8.5 second gap to the car behind. Meanwhile, Gonzalez is trying to chase down John Dalton for that last podium spot. He's got 4 minutes to do so, so see if he can make it.
Alright, Gonzalez is on newer tires, I think.
Yep.
So let's have a look at the lap times.
There's another car in the
So
pit lane.
Gonzalez was 1.1 seconds faster on the last lap.
Blue had a car in the pits for some reason. Don't know why he's in the pits, but he's in the pits. And he's back out on track again.
Indeed. Someone. Yeah, it was Eloy Carballo. So I'm not sure what he was doing in the pits again. He's been in the pits 3 times so far in this race. So that's a bit confusing, but okay.
I believe this is the second to last lap. This Thomas Johnson is going to cross the bus stop now, and I don't think, unless I am wrong, maybe there might actually be 2 more laps to go. So,
Well, his last lap was a 2:11 for Jensen, so I think that will be another lap after he finishes this one. And that should give Gonzalez some more time to catch up to John Dalton.
yep. GT traffic up ahead, GT3 traffic in the form of the Nissan. The Nissan GT3 versus GT1, depending on where Dalton can get part. There is enough time to catch it in this lap.
Gonzalez does look to be closing in quite quickly, but I don't know if he's quite quick enough to pass Dalton.
Depends on what Dalton can deal with this traffic.
Right now in the fifth lap.
As Thomas Jensen's going through Blanchimont right now, and to the bus stop very shortly, so he'll be going for the second to last time. So I'll guarantee this will be the second to last lap, and the next.
Gonzalez got past the GT3 car rather easily. Probably got a bit of tow there, so he's now half a second behind Dalton.
He's very close now, as well. Now Tom Jensen is on the last lap now. Let's see how well. What can they do in this last lap, as Kuderman's close in the back of Victor Berlin in the GT.
So Gonzalez was a second faster than Dalton on that last lap, so in theory he should be able to do it, assuming he gets a good opportunity to pass.
Can you get a better
Looks
exit
like
through
both of them
here?
are gonna have a clean. Looks like both of them are gonna have a clean lap. There's no traffic coming up.
Jolson's just got to hope he can keep the gap as long as possible, because that Nissan is going to close down him quicker. New tyres. I'd argue say a slightly better driver, but we'll see what happens after this lap. It has lost a bit of time on it, it's now dropped behind a second. As Kuderman has made the move on Berlin, so Berlin now drops out of the podium spots in GT3. Thomas Jensen is going to be crossing the line soon to end this race for the final time.
Yes, indeed. As Eloy Carballo just pulled off the track, I think.
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
Don't know if his ignition's out or not because he doesn't have any lights in front of his car. Victor Berlin seems
Going on board with him, and the engine appears to be off.
I'm guessing it's fuel.
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
And
and Gonzalez
retired.
is in the wall, and he's retired. So Gonzalez had, and that's going to save John Dalton to get the P3. And so he does as the car slowly starts coming home. Marcus Lawrence will take home P1 in class as he crossed the line for his maiden race in the OVRC and takes it to win it. P4 overall goes to Radek in his Saleen on his maiden race in the OVRC as he crossed the line. Matt Kovalainen is going to come back in P2 in class in GT, with Connor behind him in GT1. God just decides to slam it across the line. I know, I believe that is Anthony coming in close in his maiden race in P19. Sebastian Brunier, home P6, with Kuderman behind him, coming home in P for the finishing off the podium with GT3. Seems to have the rest of the field coming very slowly. Gordon coming across the line. Davey Haynes is going to come back in P11. Followed by Robert Nygaard. I believe we should soon have all the cars over the line. Hoves comes home in P13. Sunderland in P14. And Alexander in P15. And there you go. As a result, Thomas Jensen wins at Spa. Wins the first round of the GT series with Tom Dentis and John Dalton taking the rest of the podium spots. Mark Lawrence takes P1 in GT3 along with Kovalainen and Kuderman, and finishing off the rest of the podium in GT3. And that's a lot of DNFs. Victor Berlin DNF'd, Gonzalez DNF'd, and pretty sure lots of Berlin DNF'd due to fuel issues because he was cruising very slowly on the way back and I believe he's run out of fuel. And that will be of that.
Yeah, Eloy Carballo and Victor Berlin have both run out of fuel. They just confirmed through Discord.
So quickly going to see if we can get an interview with Thomas Jensen. maybe. And if he's still here? Marcus Lawrence, maybe after. Alright, so it is going to be Thomas Jensen.
Hello there.
Hello, and congratulations on winning the first round of the GT series.
Thank you. It was really fun.
Yeah. So you managed to obviously take home P1. How was the race from your point of view for being the first of this series?
I think it was a pretty good race overall. For me, at least, all the GT3s were nice. Some were obviously new to this, so they sometimes let me go in corners where it is actually a bit dangerous, but all went fine in the end. Sucks that apparently if you turn off your engine on the start, you get DNF'd in the GT3s because you don't move and your engine is off. So that's unfortunately what happened to Mark. I assume he told you already.
It was posted around the place. A few times you did have a challenge from Tom Dentist. Was it? But he never really was quite on the same pace. The fact that at the end you had a 1 second fastest lap than he did. Did you feel like it was really a challenge for you, or?
He was definitely a challenge, like especially with this multi-class. I've seen it in the checkered flag race with the LMP1s, where you can have really bad luck with traffic, and the others can have really good luck, and they can easily catch you by a whole bunch of seconds. So it's definitely never over in multi-class. But I definitely think at the faster pace today.
Anything like to add, Owen?
Nope.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas, and I will send you back to your fellow drivers.
Yeah, thank you guys for commentating again.
Of course. Alright, let's see if we can get Marcus for an interview. It's maybe so I can ask Thomas these days, because it's the same thing every time. Okay, so we are going to have Marcus for an interview. I'll quickly move him. Hello, Marcus.
Hello.
And congratulations on your maiden win.
Thank you.
In the season. And I was going to say this: you were dominant in that race.
Yeah. To start with, I thought that the Merc behind me was actually keeping up with me. But I think once I got my stride and got into a rhythm, I managed to pull a gap. I don't know what happened to him though.
Because yeah, you were just in qualifying. You were about a second faster than everyone else, I believe. Or I know as practice you're second faster, and in qualifying you're quite far ahead. Do you like Spa? And
Yeah, I do like Spa. On my final, I didn't think I was going to get into a 15 on my qualifying lap, but I knew I could do a low 16. But I managed to get a toe on the back straight, and that really got me into the 15s because I didn't think I would be able to. But
how was the GT1 traffic to deal with? Because obviously they're not much faster in the corners than you, but when it comes to the straights, they'll blast past you. Would you say it was easy to deal with, or did you have some issues with them?
I had a pretty much completely lonely race until like the last 15 minutes, I think, when the GT1 started to catch me. It was a little bit difficult because I would not get in their way. I would always go offline and let them go through, but they don't actually have like that much grip. I think it's more power that they have. So
Yeah,
I was kind of waiting for them to go, but they weren't. So I just had to be a bit patient as well.
Yeah, because they don't have much more grip than a GT3, but they have an extra 100 horsepower under the bonnet. So
Yeah, and they sound amazing.
Yeah. So, anything you'd like to add, Owen, at all?
Not really. Just thank you for for the racing, and congratulations on the win in GT3 class.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and hope to see you again on the track shortly.
Yeah, it's the touring cars next week.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting.
Alright, I will send you back to your fellow drivers, and we will end this broadcast.
Thank you. Bye bye.
That was Marcus Lawrence, your GT3 winner for this race, and that pretty much sums everything up, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't think much more to really add to the broadcast. I think there is anything really. I want to thank everyone for tuning in again. This has been Alex and Owen doing the OVRC broadcast for the GT series. This is race 1. Next week will be touring cars, the first of the OVRC TC series. That'll be at Monza in the brand new TCR cars released a couple weeks back.
Remember to click the like button and subscribe button and etc.
Do all that stuff, because then you get
Well,
notified.
that's-
You get
Yay.
notified when we do another live stream, whatever that is. And once again, thanks for everyone for tuning in. I hope everyone did enjoy the stream and the racers enjoyed the race. I know there's a bit of issues, but hopefully they'll be dealt with before next time. And
yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.